Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of Wrestle Erotica. That's right, we made it to 2, baby! 2 episodes!
Oh, yeah!
This week we have, again, another 2 stories. And the first one features Heidi Lovelace and Ashley Remington, and this is the first look we've had at independent wrestlers. And the second story features Trish Stratus and Mickie James. And this week we tried experimenting with a few different things. The first story, we put a backing track in it, just to be more reminiscent of porno, basically. And then the second one, there's a few, not too many, sound bites mixed in, and we're just kind of experimenting with formats. So without further ado, let's get to the stories.
Story 1 is called Smooth Sailing for Heidi, and it is by Literotica.com user DexG2001. December 6, 2014, at the legendary wrestling venue formerly known as the ECW Arena, now the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The latest internet pay-per-view offering, Tomorrow Never Dies, from the family-friendly, heavily lucha libre and comic book-influenced independent wrestling promotion Chikara is in full swing. Currently backstage with a huge smile on her gorgeous face is the woman who has made history in becoming the first female to capture the prestigious Chikara Young Lions Cup, Heidi Lovelace. She is still clad in the ring attire she wore on the event's online pre-show, where she won the cup. Unique purple with red designed bottoms that cover the whole leg on one side, and just to the upper thigh on the other, and a short no-sleeve top, which all nicely shows off the athletic and nicely curved frame of the rising indie scene starlight with short dark hair. As she smiles and heads along backstage with her prize cup after several congratulations from the rest of the Technicos, she sees a different sort of sight that stops her and makes her smirk. Not another masked competitor giving her kudos, but a handsome and nicely muscular man, clad in his wrestling gear from the show, but carrying a generously filled fruit basket. None other than another star who has risen in the ranks in 2014. Smooth Sailing Ashley Remington. He has on a familiar captain's hat on his head to go with the jacket, and has a big smile on his face as he approaches her. Congratulations, Heidi, on that fantastic victory, Ashley says, in a to-be-expected friendly tone. We all know you could teach that Colony Extreme Force a lesson and win the cup, and you proved us all well and truly right. So in celebration, from one winner of a match tonight to another, he holds out the fruit basket, a trademark of his, towards her. I'd humbly like to offer you a token of appreciation in the form of this personally crafted fruit basket. This place never stops surprising me, Heidi laughs with a smile, and that's nice and all, but I've got my hands just a little bit full at the moment. She holds up the Young Lions cup with a smirk. Of course, how silly of me. Perhaps I can drop this off at your locker room? Perhaps your hotel room, he offers. Well, the locker room they gave me isn't too far off. You could maybe just walk with me and we'll get there, Lovelace says with a shrug. That would be my pleasure, Remington says with a smile. I would never turn down such a request from a talented lady like yourself. Oh, really? Her interest is perked by that comment, as she takes a moment to get the desirable stud to look over, with an improving smirk. Well, that does give me an idea, but it ain't exactly one that fit in with the whole family-friendly deal that Chikara does. That sounds like something that could get us both into a whole lot of trouble if the director of fun found out about it, Ashley says with a chuckle. Oh, it damn well, she says, slicking her lips slightly. You won a match tonight, and so have I. So how about you and I do a little bit of celebrating over at the locker room they gave me. She stumbles with a noticeably flirty tone. Celebrating is something that I love to do, Heidi, and it'll be my pleasure to celebrate with you, he says with another warm smile. Believe me, Ashley, pleasure will be the key word, she says with a grin of her own. Follow me. Minutes later, in the separate changing room assigned for her due to being the only female on the show, the newly crowned Young Lions champion is grinning as she sits back on a folding chair, watching as the handsome Ashley Remington pulls her wrestling shorts down her legs, revealing her neatly trimmed snatch. This is going to taste a whole lot better than a fruit basket, Ashley, Heidi says with a lick of her teeth as she puts her shorts aside, allowing her to spread her legs invitingly wide for him. As lovely as my baskets are, I think you're correct on that one, Heidi. The handsome wrestler responds as he kneels down in front of her, moving his arms underneath her legs to grip them from underneath, allowing them to scoot in close and start to lap his tongue up against her snatch, instantly making her groan with approval at the flicking touch. Absolutely correct. Very tasty indeed. He smiles up at her before diving back in as he works his tongue up and down her folds. Still clothed in his wrestling attire jacket and with his trademark hat on his head as he gets down to business, eating the gorgeous female wrestler's pussy out, putting his tongue against her entrance as he uses brief up and down motion to work her over. Yeah, stick that tongue in there. Get a good taste of me. Ah. The shimmer and shine wrestling starlet moans her approval as she reaches back with one hand to grip the chair she's sitting on, allowing her to keep her snatch pushed right forward so the hunk between her spread wide legs and keep on sliding his tongue over her pussy. Oh yeah, like that, Ashley. Lick me good, baby. She nods her head approvingly, her hips slightly rocking up towards his handsome face when he pushes his tongue into the already getting wet box, making the semi-clothed female wrestler moan, as he shows she's got some oral talents from the way he's treating her, to some fine eating out as he slides in further in between her folds. The Chikara wrestler, who's taken the promotion by storm in 2014, groans himself into that tight filling and very tasty pussy. His mouth enclosed as he lashes his tongue against her twat, with quick in and out motions, his hands keeping a firm grip of her tan legs as he munches away onto her pussy. Closing his eyes to further focus on the task at hand, Remington starts slightly nodding his head as she slides his tongue up to the top of her nicely wet pussy, before moving downward, briefly pushing his tongue into her snatch, before moving back up and repeating the motion, smiling to himself a little as he hears her clear moans of approval of his work. Fuck, oh yeah, fucking eat that pussy, baby. The Edwardsburg, Michigan-born beauty groans as he grits her teeth, her free hand going to the top of her hat-covered head, pushing his face right up into her crotch to make his tongue be planted into her deep pussy, causing her to moan again as she gazes lustfully down at the stud now pressed right between her legs. Oh yeah, tongue me good, Ashley. Get me really fucking wet, she orders with a smile. But he's clearly got no intentions of stopping, as the grappler known elsewhere as Dalton Castle keeps on eating her out, sliding and probing his tongue all around her tight hole, doing more than enough work to in turn keep her moaning out with quite unfamiliar friendly language compared to what the company they both work for is known for. Ashley moans into her pussy, a sizable bulge now formed in his wrestling ties as the hunk who is victorious in the unique German suplex match in the opening contest of the day's show eats out the hot, tasty, and noticeably damp pussy of the stunner who made history as the first woman to win the Chikara Young Lions Cup. Switching things up, he begins to dart his clearly talented tongue in and out of her love tunnel with short and sharp motions, getting an instant response as she moans out, letting go of his head as he runs her tongue through her sexy short hair, and letting himself smile again. He continues the tongue-fucking action for several more moments as he tastes her forming fluids. Forget smooth selling. This was just a smooth way, to get into my pants, wasn't it? Heidi moans as she looks down at him with a grin as he lifts his face away from her snatch. As I recall, Heidi, this was your suggestion, Ashley reminds her with a smile of his own as he stands up, taking off his jacket to place it aside. And I never refuse a request from a lovely woman such as... He's about to finish the sentence, but it's cut off when she moves off the chair, dropping down to her knees in front of him, as taking a hold of his wrestling attire in order to pull them down. Fucking nice! Lovelace exclaims with wide eyes and a just as wide smile, as his freed, rock-hard, and impressively lengthy cock is now pointing right at her face. Guess it makes sense. The guy with the yacht has a big flagpole. She jokes as she grips his length, giving him a couple of pumps to slice him up. I'm never one to boast, but I'm glad you approve, Remington says, with a sigh of pleasure as the babe he'd just been eating out is now stroking his dick as she kneels in front of him. Can I offer you my jacket to kneel on? It can't feel too good to be on bare knees down there. Nah, I'm a tough girl. Just ask the loser I beat earlier on. She smirks up at him before leaning her head in, now returning the favor of the tongue work she'd received by dishing out some of her own, sliding her soft tongue across the head of his member, using her hand to jerk him off at the same time while she pleasures the crown of his sizable and thick to match cock. Fuck. I'm gonna have some real fun with this piece of meat, she thinks aloud as she moves her head downward to his ballsack, giving a quick kiss to the base before she runs her tongue up along the side and again circles around the head, gazing up desire at the handsome fellow indie scene worker as she uses his steady swirling motion to dab her saliva onto the tip and crown of his length. It feels like a whole lot of fun from where I'm standing as well. The muscular and flamboyant grappler compliments with a smile and a moan as he watches the talented and attractive female wrestler in front of him playfully smack the bell end of his tool against her tongue a couple of times while she strokes away at the shaft. Oh my. That's some skill of your own you've got there, he adds with a chuckle and a moan of delight as she now opens her mouth and takes him inside, still gripping and jerking off the lower portion as she now begins to bob her head on the upper half of his manhood, her tongue pushed out to push against his underside as she sucks him off in a sign that this is certainly far from her first time handling a cock like this. The tough and talented beauty groans around the dick in her mouth as she energetically sucks him off, keeping her palm moving with a smooth back and forth motion, while her lips perform the same action to work over the top half of him, the double teaming of his man meat more than enough to make him groan as she slurps on his shaft. She keeps her head bobbing away onto his member, gradually going down further to take more of his impressive size, and as she flicks her tongue out against the underside, finding herself groaning again as the bottomless stunner sucks off the almost naked part from his hat hunk she's on her knees in front of. Lifting her head off for a moment, she smirks up at him before spitting down onto his cock, using her hand to stroke the saliva over his inches before she leaned her head back downward and resumed the task of blowing him. Don't take this the wrong way, Heidi, but I can clearly see that it's not just in the ring, where you can handle yourself against the man. The desirable hunk nicknamed Smooth Sailing states, noting her far from amateur oral ability as she briskly rocks her short, dark-haired head along his pole, and at the same time keeping her hand pumping away over those nicely thick inches she hasn't yet taken into her warm and wet mouth. And here I was thinking, I was the winner enough, showing everyone my German suplex was the better, he's able to say between moans as he more than enjoys the blowjob he's getting from the newly crowned Young Lions cup holder, as she all too eagerly and shamelessly bobs her mouth up and down onto his dick, getting him nice and coated with her saliva, and all the while gazing up at the muscular hunk she's sucking deeply. Moving her head away from his shaft, Lovelace surprises him again by pushing her head right down onto his cock, making herself gag erotically as she takes him in deep but keeps her lips firmly pressed around that member, proving him right again as she shows off further talent with some deep throat action. Gah! She lustfully moans around the big dick she's taking down into her throat, gagging again but refusing to pull away, as she continues to stare sensibly up at the stud she's pleasuring with her oral hole, who is in turn in looking on in delight and awe as she keeps her pretty face impaled onto his cock for several more gagging moments. The female, known for having great success in matches against male opponents as well as female, finally relents, lifting his head up from his crotch, but goes right back into a cock-sucking motion, ensuring his dick is covered with her salvia to match how wet her snatch is, both from his earlier tongue work and how obviously turned on she's been by dishing out a smoking hot BJ to him. Goodness me, Heidi. You are certainly full of surprises, Ashley states with a smile and a moan as she lifts her head away from his cock with a deep gaze for air. What? You saying you didn't think I'd be a good fuck? Heidi playfully teases with a smirk, getting up from the floor and reaching to remove her top. I'm feeling her nicely sized and rounded breast as she tosses the garment away, leaving her in her wrestling boots. Well, I knew all the good people in the locker room, and all the great fans were rooting for you to win the cup. And you did. Perhaps I shouldn't be surprised at what you are good at, Remington says with a handsome laugh, not resisting as she takes control of things and takes him by the arm, leading him over to the folding chair and making him sit down on it. Oh, I'm better than good at this. Just watch me, Lovelace states with a sexy lip of the teeth as she mounts him, aiding by him guiding his shaft up into her wet snatch, as both of them moan as she lowers herself right down onto the dick she'd just been sucking on. Oh, I most certainly will be watching. Ah. The Albany, New York-born stag groans as he places his hands onto her toned and tan waist, while she takes a hold of his shoulders, wasting no time in getting to work as she starts to bounce her athletic and nicely curved body up and down onto his cock, making them once again both moan out as she takes a stick up into her snatch. Oh yes, ah. I've got the best seat in the house to watch this, he states with another signature handsome smile, groaning in joy at the feeling of his shaft being taken deep into the tight and wet snatch of the first woman to hold the Shikara Young Lions Cup, as she smoothly and sharply bounces on his manhood, and making it look like an all-too-natural occurrence for her. You're too fucking right, this is, the best fucking place to be. The former OVW Women's Champion moans out as she steadily raises and lowers her body onto the thick and long cock of the charismatic wrestler she's on top of, using language very unsuitable for the family promotion they both compete in. Ah, fuck. You like that, Ashley. You like, being in the Shikara's Young Lions Cup champ. She lustfully asks, knowing well that here backstage, in what is essentially her locker room, there's nothing to stop this rather shameless sexual encounter, as the two fan favorites moan out as she bounces her gorgeous body and rocks against the similarly desirable frame of the stud she's mounted on. Safe to say, Heidi, that you're a winner again. When it comes to the answer to that question, the attractive, to say the very least, man, known for his sportsmanlike behavior, smiles and nods as he groans, his hands moving up to her perky tits in order to give them a squeeze, and seeing her approving response as she moans only encourages him to further cup her boobs while she steadily and quickly bounces all the way up and down onto his dick. You feel magnificent. It's truly wonderful. He marvels with another long groan of pleasure from the sensation of his manhood being taken almost completely into her wet and snug twat, her nicely rounded ass cheeks slapping into his thighs each time she drops down, before she soon lifts herself upward, skillfully keeping the crown inside her snatch, before repeating the motion over and over again. Oh yeah, Ashley. Shit. You feel so good inside me. The star of all female wrestling promotions, such as Shimmer and Shine Wrestling, grits her teeth as she looks down her body, reaching down as she lifts herself up, gripping his dick so she can teasily smack the crown of his tool against her pussy for a moment, making them both groan with delight from the motion. It's not too long before she slides him back in, and resumes the pleasurable task of riding him with this sort of skill that shows this is far from the first time she's rode a big cock before. Forget about wrestling is fun. I've got all the fun I need right here. She grins with a moan, referencing the sister company to Shikara, where she's racked up several major wins leading up to tonight. But for now, her focus is on giving this steaming counter everything she's got, as she bounces again and again to take the dick of the man known as Smooth Sailing right up into her wet and still tight pussy, with another series of sharp glances. This certainly wouldn't be allowed to be seen away from closed doors. The flamboyant grappler jokes, with a smile, a groan as he grips her waist again, unable to help himself as he gives the beauty mounted on top of him a couple of thrusts up into her snatch, as she lowers herself down, resulting in not only them both moaning at the increased sensations, but a louder smack of skin hitting skin sounding out around the locker room. Simply marvelous, Heidi. You're one of a kind. Tegan is still able to compliment and be humble even as he skinned the ride of his life, courtesy of the talented and attractive female wrestler who continues to expertly bounce away on his dick, leaving it nicely coated with her juices thanks to the smooth and repeated motion she's been using on him that's working perfectly to make her moan out shamelessly as well. Licking her lips, she comes to a stop on his cock, grinding down into his crotch for a moment. You just saying that because I'm the one with your big fucking cock deep in me. Lovelace teases. But before he can respond, she moves up and off of him in order to stand up. How about you show me how you treat those ladies you're always shown up with to the ring?
I treat my angels like a true gentleman should, and I'll gladly do the same for you, Remington says with a smile, standing up from the chair as he gives his cock a light stroke. You'd better, or I'll be asking the director of fun to put me against you in a match on the next show, Heidi warns in a playful tone, getting into position so she can bend over forwards, placing her hands on the folding chair as she sticks out her nicely rounded backside towards him. Well, "We can't be having that now, can we?" Ashley responds with another smile, moving up behind her and guiding his length into that still tight and now very wet pussy. No, we fucking can't," she moans as she looks back over her shoulder, licking her lips as she feels his cock sliding all the way into her box to fill her up, and showing how eager she is for some more action. She already starts to push back into him, even before he starts pumping. That doesn't take too long to get going, however, as he begins to rock his hips, moving his meaty stick in and out of her folds, without ever fully pulling out of her, allowing him to quickly repeat the motion, so the sound of skin hitting off of tan skin is as soon once again ringing out around her locker room. Oh shit, yes, like that, Ashley, The first woman to hold the AAW Heritage Championship groans her approval of his stiff thrusting pace, keeping her lusty gaze locked onto him and his muscular frame as he takes her from behind, proving he's more than got sexual ability of his own as the rising indie scene star bangs her deep in her wet, snug pussy. I don't like to brag, but I must be the luckiest man on the planet right now. He groans with a smile, his signature captain's hat still on his head, as sweat drips from his handsome facial features. He pumps, going in balls deep into the gorgeous female wrestler, bent over in front of him as she steadily pumps his thick rod back and forth into her slick twat. His hands still firmly holding her by the waist, to keep his motion straight and ready for the perfect swift pace to nail her with. Oh crap, so damn good, he grunts as he drives his cock right forward into the pussy of the first woman to have won a title in Shikara. While I said talented and attractive to say the least, female sharply pushes herself back to meet each and every incoming pump she gets, ensuring that he goes in balls deep every time, and she gets filled up to the max. Fuck. Oh yes. Don't stop, Ashley. Don't fucking stop. Similarly sweating now, making her athletic and nicely curved body look even hotter than before. And caught up in the lust of the moment, the member of Daphne's All-Star Squad and Shine Wrestling moans out deeply as she closes her eyes, still roughly rocking herself back and forth against those stiff and deep thrusts, driving into her soaking wet now snatch. Oh shit! Oh fuck! Lovely groans out as her full and rounded booty smacks against the muscular waist of the stud, banging her in this bent over forward position, loving the feeling of being stuffed full and taken by someone who obviously knows what they're doing. And that just means more pleasure for both other wrestlers who were victorious in their respective matches earlier in the day. They always say good deeds are never unrewarded, but I never thought, it could lead to something like this. Just like his nickname suggests, he's usually perfectly smooth, as well as swift, and deep thrusts to deliver his cock fully into the horny stunner in front of him, while she sharply pushes backwards into his now sweat-covered body, as the sound of skin meeting skin continues to ring out around the locker room they've been fucking in. Goodness me. Oh, honey, you're incredible, he moans with a smile, feeling his cock starting to throb slightly within her dripping wet, but still pleasurably tight pussy. And knowing it'd be too rude of him to simply pull out now, he continues to thrust away, to go in balls deep, much to his moaning delight of the recipient of these stiff pumps in front of him. Oh fuck! Letting out a long and deep groan, Heidi Lovelace starts to come hard on the pistoning cock of Ashley Remington, moaning with a grin as her juices flow out and further coat the dick that's already been more than simply coated from how wet her box had been already. She continues to groan as she keeps pushing herself back against the stiff pumps that continue to drive deep into her snatch. As unsurprisingly, he makes sure to aid her in living out every possible moment of her sexual peak as she groans and sweats in this bent-over position. After a few more pumps, and as her groans lower in volume, the stud behind her finally has to pull out of her snatch with a groan, taking a hold of his throbbing tool in his hand and starting to stroke. Impressively, considering she just hit a powerful orgasm, she quickly turns around and gets down to her knees in front of him, grinning up as she tilts her head back and opens her mouth wide, sticking out her tongue for good measures and offering up a clear, sexy target. What a way, to finish off a great day. Ashley Remington moans as he starts to come, sending his load out into the open mouth of Heidi Lovelace, as he feels her oral hold up with his thick jazz, Blast after blast of his sticky seed splashing down onto her tongue and into her mouth as he strokes himself off rapidly. After several pumps for good measure and a couple of flicks to ensure the last drops are sent into her almost overflowing with spunk mouth, he finally sighs and lets go of his spent tool. This allows her to close her lips, giving him a sexy smirk as she swallows down his entire load with one shameless gulp, even sticking out her tongue afterwards to prove she'd drink it all down. Yeah, pretty sure that tasted better than the whole fruit basket you gave me, Heidi says with a grin as she stays down for a moment. I wouldn't complain about that at all, Ashley responds with a smile of his own. That was simply fantastic, Heidi. Hey, you weren't so bad yourself, Ashley, she replies as she stands up and looks over her sweat-covered body. Considering you made me work more than I had to do earlier when I won the cup. But tell me something. Is it really true that you have a yacht parked up somewhere near, ready to sell? Of course. I am smooth selling after all, Remington states with a chuckle. Good, Lovelace says, licking her lips, because forget about being in a Mile High Club. I feel like being and taking that C Club. And I mean sooner rather than later. In that case, I think that perhaps you and I should set sail right now, Ashley says, with another handsome smile. Story number 2 for this week is called A Christmas Present for Mickie James, and it is written by Literotica user WWE Killer. It had been a very long day for Mickie James. Now all she wanted to do when she got home was to put her feet up and read a good book. Turning her key into the lock, Mickie stepped into her dark hallway and flicked on a light. Hanging her coat up, Mickie thought about what a day it had been, signing all those fans' pictures and books. Tired and ready for bed, Mickie walked into her living room, and she got a huge shock. A figure was under her Christmas tree. Mickie was amazed because the figure had her ass sticking up and her satin red panties were easily seen. What the hell? Mickie shouts out as the figure moved and stands up. It was Trish Stratus, dressed up in a Santa costume that shows off her huge tits and most of her sexy legs. I'm Trishy Claus, said a dressed-up Trish, smiling from ear to ear. But what are you doing here? Mickie asked again, still amazed Trish is here up in her house. I'm putting your presents under the tree, Trish says, smiling, pointing to the presents under the tree. Mickey's face breaks out into a grin. Oh, but Trishy Claus, I've been a bad girl. Oh, really? Trish says, giggling. Well, on my list it says Mickie James is nice, not naughty. But Trishy Claus, I am a bad girl, you see? There's this girl at work, Mickie says, head down, shifting from one foot to the other nervously. Trish moves over to Mickey's sofa and sits down. Come on, Mickie, sit on my lap and tell me all about it. Okay, Trishy Claus, says Mickie, who skips over and sits her jean-clad ass on Trish's bare legs. Now then, tell me all about this girl at work, Trish says. This girl is so nice. She's like a champion, Mickie says, looking Trishy Claus with her eyes lit up. Trish strokes Mickey's back as she continues to talk. And her hair is lovely and blonde, with boobies just like yours, Mickie says, poking Trish's tit through her Santa suit. Very nice, says Trish, rubbing circles around Mickey's back. But what do you want to do to this girl that makes you naughty? Well, Trishy Claus, whenever I see this girl, all I want to do is kiss and lick her all over, Mickie says, then whispers. Does that make me a bad girl, Trishy Claus? I'm afraid, Miss James, these sort of thoughts make you a very naughty girl, Trish says. Mickie hangs her head in shame, but you can hear her giggling. Mickie James, for thinking such bad thoughts about a coworker, I'm going to give you a spanking, Trishy Claus says, smacking her hands together. Okay, Trishy Claus, says Mickie, reluctantly sliding over Trish's lap, sticking her butt up. I'm sorry, Miss James, but it has to be bare bottom, Trish says, licking her lips. Mickie smiles, then gets up and undoes the button on her jeans and tugs them down. Past her hips, her bright red panties stare out at Trish as Mickie strips off her jeans. Panties too, Miss James, Trish says through her dazzling white smile. Mickie blushes as her fingers slip into the waistband of her panties and tug them down her tanned legs. Trish gets her first look at Mickie James's pussy, only to gasp out loud as she sees that it is totally bare. Mickie kicks her panties onto the Christmas tree, then walks over to Trishy Claus before lying down over her lap. Trish gives Mickey's bare ass a few gentle rubs, making the brunette giggle and stick her ass up higher in the air. You have such a great ass, Mickie James, Trish says, stroking these golden cheeks of Mickie, making the young diva moan in pleasure. However, Mickie, you are a bad girl and must be punished, Trish tells the bent-over Mickie, raising her hand. Mickie closes her eyes but still screams as Trish's hand bounces off her asshole. Did that hurt, Mickie? Trish said with concern. But Mickie just shakes her head, so Trish lifts her hand and delivers 3 quick spanks to Mickie James's bare ass. Ow! Mickey yells as her ass shakes from the impact while Trish continues to spank Mickey's ass, making her golden tan mix with reddening cheeks. Trish strokes Mickey's ass crack, making her shiver with pleasure, then goes back to the hand spankings. 6 more loud shots to the bubbly diva's ass. Then Trish stops. Okay, Mickie James, I think you have paid your debt. You are now a good girl, Trish says, pushing a bottomless Mickey onto the floor, then standing in. Yes, Trishy Claus, Mickey says with a sad look in her eyes while pouting. Now, Mickey, time for your big surprise. Close your eyes, please. Trish says in a strong tone as Mickey's eyes light up, and she leaps to her feet. Yay! I love surprises, Trishy Claus, Mickey says, looking at Trish as she walks towards the Christmas tree. She looks back at Mickey, who quickly slaps her hands over her eyes so as not to look. Once Trish has checked that Mickey is not looking, she kicks off her heels and pulls down her Santa suit. Still checking Mickey can't see Santa's hat. White socks and red panties are removed and hidden behind a sofa. Mickey is getting bored of waiting, so she slowly moves her hands and opens her eyes to see Trish Stratus standing naked in front of her.
Oh, yeah!
Oh my god, Trish. You're here, and hey, where did your clothes go? Mickey says, staring up and down Trish's fantastic body. Mickey, I don't know. Trish says shyly, pretending to cover herself up. All I remember is someone in a sleigh, picking me up and telling me they were going to take me to my true love. Wow, Trish. I made a wish to Trishy Claus, and she spanked me till I became a good girl, Mickey says. And I wished for you, and you're here. Well, Mickey, you got exactly what you wished for, Trish grins as she walks forward towards her. Mickey smiles back and pulls her top over her head, letting her own naked breast out into the open. Trish and Mickey embrace in the middle of the room. Their lips touch, and slowly Mickey and Trish French kiss by the light of the Christmas tree. The two divas' big tits rub against each other as their nipples softly rub together, and both girls moan through their kiss. Mickey breaks the kiss, first stroking Trish's blonde hair out of her face, then grabs her hand. Come on. You time for bed, Trishy Claus. Trishy Claus doesn't come for girls who are not in bed, Mickey says in a dominating tone, leading Trish to her bedroom. They climbed the stairs, and Mickey took Trish into her room and helped Trish into bed. Night-night, Trish. Sleep tight, Mickey says, tucking Trish in and then kissing her on the forehead. Mickey, aren't you going to get in with me? It's very cool, Trish says, doing her puppy dog eyes at Mickey, making the woman's champion smile. Mickey giggles and climbs into bed alongside Trish and snuggles next to her favorite diva, filling her body next to her. So, Trish said, her face right next to Mickey's, what's Trishy Claus like? Mickey kissed Trish on the bridge of the nose before answering. She's a lot like you. She has long blonde hair, a cute face, and some awesome tits. Mickey buries her face into Trish's boobs, making the Canadian moan out loud. No more teasing, Mickey. I want you. I want you now, Trish says with a fire in her eyes. Mickey giggles, then rolls herself on top of Trish. Their tits crush together.
Hello, ladies.
And Mickey stares deeply into the Canadian's blue eyes. Trish pushes her face forward and sticks her tongue down Mickey's throat, making the brunette gag as Trish kisses her hard. Mickey's response to this hard kissing is by rubbing her tits across Trish's boobs, making their hard nipples touch, sending waves of pleasure through them both. Breaking off the kiss, Mickey starts to slide down Trish's body, her tongue out looking in between her big boobs and down her toned abs. Trish feels herself getting wetter and wetter as Mickey slowly licks down Trish's body before making it to her soaking wet cunt. Moaning as she feels Mickey's cool breath next to her, Trish rubs her own boobs as she waits for Mickey. She doesn't have to wait long as Mickie James dives into her soaking wet snatch and licks up all her juices as she teases Trish's clit. Already halfway to coming before Mickey started licking Trish's shouts, Trish starts shouting and pulling on her own nipples as her orgasm builds. Mickey, fuck more. Mickey, lick me out. Oh, God, Mickey. Trish ends up screaming as Mickey's tongues flip against her clit and she loses control. Cum covers Mickie James's cute face as the diva laps up whatever amount of cum she can see. Mickey, I left a present for you under the bed, an exhausted Trish says. So Mickey wipes Trish's cum off her face and dives under the bed and comes up with a large pink strap on. Trish, I think this is for you, Mickey says with a smile, throwing her the big strap on. Trish ties it round her waist, then stands up as Mickey gets on all fours, sticking her ass up. You want this big cock in your ass, Mickey? Trish asks while stroking the diva's butt. Please, Trish, I need your big plastic dick in my ass, Mickey begs with Trish, who puts the head of the strap on right next to Mickey's asshole. Trish pushes in hard to Mickey's unlubed ass, making the diva scream out loud as the head of the strap-on goes deeper into her asshole. Waiting until Mickey stops screaming, then slowly Trish pulled the strap-on out and drove it back in again hard. Mickey's ass was being tortured by Trish's big strap-on, and the brunette screams loud every time the strap-on goes deeper inside her anus. However, after 10 hard shoves and screams, Trish takes her plastic dick out of Mickey and then starts to lick her biggest fan's asshole, and Mickey loves feeling Trish's tongue inside of her. Trish gives Mickey's ass a few good long licks, getting the inside of her ass wet, then starts to push the strap-on into her ass as Mickey moans in pleasure. Now that her ass is lubed up, it is easy to slide the 9-inch plastic cock inside of Mickey's ass. Trish starts to fuck Mickey's ass, digging her hands into her big, thick ass cheeks, holding herself steady. Mickey is not only loving being fucked in the ass, but the fact that her idol is doing it just makes it so much better for Mickey, allowing her to move her hand back and rub her own dripping wet pussy. Trish is enjoying banging Mickey's ass. It feels so good to fuck with her hands digging into her ass cheeks. Trish wishes she had given out more anal sex in her life. Sweat runs down Mickey's forehead as she starts her own pre-cum, running down her own fingers as she fingers her dripping wet pussy. Looking up, Mickey sees in her full-length dress mirror Trish behind her, eyes closed in ecstasy, fucking her ass. And this picture was enough to send Mickey over the edge. Mickey's primal scream wakes Trish up from her own daydreams to see that Mickey is coming all over her bed as she cries out Trish's name. Trish waits until Mickey has finished before stroking her own pussy, which is soaking in her own juices. She quickly works 3 fingers inside of her and pumps away before silently coming all over her long fingers. She watches Mickey slide her thumb into her mouth before falling fast asleep. So she wipes her own cum off her hands, using a towel by the foot of the bed. Trish pulls out of her ass, letting her go, and Mickey falls face first on the bed, her ass shaking slightly from the impact. Quickly, Trish removes the pink strap-on and brings the bed cover up and over hers and Mickey's body. She wraps her arms around Mickey's body, pulling her closer before resting her own head down onto the bed. Then they both fall asleep in each other's arms. Early the next morning, Trish wakes up suddenly to find Mickey is not lying next to her, and the strap-on she had on has been taken off. Confused, she pulls on a pair of Mickey's black panties next to the bed, and Trish feels a warm tingle as her pussy rubs up against a wet patch on the panties. Pulling up a t-shirt, Trish goes down the stairs to find Mickey is in the kitchen wearing a big black sweatshirt cooking breakfast. "Morning, Trish. You sleep okay?" Mickey asks in her normal, hyperactive self, gazing at her idol. "Yeah, Mickey," Trish answers sleepily. "Last night just felt so good. I needed a lie." "No, Trish, it's fine. Here, have some cereal." Mickey pushes a bowl across the table, and some of the milk spills out and over Trish's chest. "Oh my God, Trish, I'm so sorry. Here, let me help." Mickey screamed at the disgusted look on Trish's face. Moves over to help her. Rubbing her hands all over Trish's t-shirt, Mickey works fast so Trish doesn't get upset and leave. But after a few minutes, she stops and sees Trish isn't mad. Instead, Mickey sees she has been rubbing all over Trish's breast, and it has turned Trish on, as her nipples are erect and pushing up against her shirt. Mickey looked up at Trish, who was smiling, then pulls her in close and kisses her. Kissing back hard, both divas rub each other's bodies as their tongues rub around in each other's mouths. Breaking the kiss, Mickey smiles to her blonde lover and leads her into the living room. Sitting her down on the sofa, Mickey picks something up. "I wonder whose panties these are," Mickey giggles as she holds up a pair of red satin panties. "Well, Mickey, I think they're mine. I must have left them there before fucking your brains out," Trish says in a cocky tone. "Trade you, Mickey, those panties for these." Trish opens her legs and shows the shocked diva the panties Trish put on. "Hey, those are my panties. Give them back," Mickey says, acting upset that Trish is wearing her panties. "Come on, Trish," Mickey says. "Trade me back my panties." "Maybe if Mickey takes her top off, Trish will give back her panties," Trish says in a very sexy voice, making Mickey's pussy damp. Mickey doesn't say a word. She just lifts her top up and pulls it over her head to reveal her naked body. "Wow, no panties, Mickey?" Trish says, as she stares at her best friend's naked body again. "Well, I would wear some panties, but some bad girl stole them and is now wearing them," Mickey says sadly, but stares at Trish with an evil grin as the blonde gets to her feet. "You think Trish is a bad girl," Trish says, looking down at the floor, acting like a naughty girl going to detention. "Yes, Miss Stratus, you are a very bad girl, sneaking into a house, fucking the hell out of the poor, sweet girl that lives here," Mickey says with a stern tone, then walks over to the tree. Now to teach you from ever being a bad girl again, you will take your clothes off and meet my Christmas present. Mickey pulls up a large paddle-shaped present from under the tree and walks over to Trish, smacking it on her hand. Mickey sits down in the same place Trisha Kloss sat and spanked her last night, and unwraps her paddle, and then looks at Trish. Feeling her own juices leaking out, Trish takes the shirt off, letting her big boobs bounce free. Hooking her fingers into the waistband of Mickey's panties and tucks them down her legs. Mickey looks on, staring at Trish's naked body. Then she points to her knees, and Trish climbs onto them, bending over. Stroking Trish's ass for a while, Mickey waits until she feels Trish relax. Then she smacks Trish's ass hard, with the paddle brushing her ass initially. 10 more spanks have Trish on the verge of tears, but feeling Mickey holding her down and spanking her, Trish can't help but get very turned on. So turned on, a little more pre-cum runs down onto Mickey's legs, but she doesn't notice as she is paddle spanking Trish's sexy ass again, making the red marks bigger and brighter. Finally, Mickey stops, puts the paddle down, and kisses Trish's sore ass a few times, then feels how wet Trish's pussy is. Does Trish want Mickey to help make her come? Mickey softly asks, and her hero nods her head as Mickey picks her up, and she lies down on the floor with Trish's pussy above her face. Trish, do you want to lick me as well? Mickey is able to call out softly from under Trish's cunt. Mickey does not get a verbal answer, but feels Trish's fingers slip inside of her, so she takes it as a yes and starts to suck on Trish's throbbing clit. Fingering away on Mickey's tight pussy, Trish gets a third finger in and starts to thrust them in faster, making the diva on the bottom of the 69 shiver with delight. Her tongue moves fast over Trish's shaved pussy. Mickey makes sure she has looked up all the blondes pre-cum. Then, using her tongue like a hard dick, she rams it into her pussy. Trish's cry of pleasure sounds so good to Mickey, so her tongue rams the dripping wet pussy above her harder and faster, determined to get more cries of bliss. Somehow Trish is still able to keep her fingers working inside of Mickey, but it's difficult as Mickey is licking her pussy better than last night, in fact, better than Trish has ever felt. Using her hands to hold Trish's hips down, still Mickey moves her head forward and sending her tongue further up her friend's pussy, flicking against Trish Stratus' G-spot, nearly bringing the house down as Trish screams. The diva of the decade is in total heaven as her number one fan gives her pussy the best licking of her life, and all she can do is thank Mickey. And all she can do to thank Mickey is yell out her name louder and louder as she feels the tips of her tongue flick her G-spot. Having made a lot of women orgasm in her life, Mickey James knows how much Trish loves this, and she also knows that she has one last trick to make Trish's orgasm perfect. Mickey's right hand lets go of her hips and travels over Trish's bruised and sore ass cheeks. Then her index finger is quickly inserted up her rectum. It all happens so fast that Trish has no idea what happened, but on the verge of the best orgasm of her life, she feels something crawling up her ass, and before she knows what happens, Mickey shoves her finger up her ass. The yell of "Oh God, Mickey!" can be heard for miles as Trish's comes down Mickey's tongue into her mouth and all over the diva's sexy face, coating it with layer of cum. Trish pants and moans as she lays still while slurping noises can be heard from under her, as Mickey makes sure none of Trish's cum goes to waste. Once she has swallowed all the Canadian's juices, Mickey tries to get Trish off of her, but Trish's fingers are still inside of her pussy. Mickey knows Trish is out of it, so she must think of some way to get Trish's fingers out of her womanhood. But just as she thinks of that, Trish pulls her own fingers out of Mickey. So Mickey, again, goes to roll Trish off of her, so she could get up. But as she tilts her head up, a big dick is shoved up her open pussy lips. Mickey's high-pitched, girly scream surprises even her, but her lubed with cum pussy had all 9 inches of her festive strap-on inside of her with one thrust. Tears of joy run down Mickey's face as Trish quickly moves the strap-on inside her cum every single stroke, hitting the most sensitive part of the woman's champion's pussy, making her howl. Trish wants to repay Mickey for her fantastic climax, and when she looked up and saw a strap-on already with female juices over it, Trish didn't have to think twice. Widely, Mickey moves up and down, causing carpet burn on her back, but means the plastic cock goes deeper and deeper inside of her, and she feels her orgasm rising. Keeping up the fast pace, Trish knows the end is near as Mickey's body is shaking beneath her, so she carries on, waiting for her best friend to come. Mickey's yell is as loud as Trish's, with the same result. A torrent of cum explodes from Mickey's pussy, covering the strap-on, also covering Trish's hands and wrists with her pussy juice. Mickey breathes hard, trying to get air back on her lungs as Trish rolls off over her and crawls up to her face, holding the cum-covered cock. In front of Mickey's eyes Trish licks and sucks the dick until it is clean, a Mickey cum, and then lies down next to Mickey. So, Mickey, did you like your Christmas present? Trish asks, stroking the diva's hair out of her face. God, Trish, I loved it. So I guess New Year is round at your place? Mickey laughs as her hand rubs Trish's red cheek. Trish leans closer. Only if you promise to bring your new toys to play with. Both divas giggle, then kiss each other one last time, and then fall asleep in Mickey's living room. The end. Thus concludes another arousing week of Wrestler Erotica. We hope you had a good time, and come back again next week where we should include our first original erotica story. Thanks for listening. Bye.